There is something deeply alluring about forbidden knowledge. From the very beginning, mankind has been drawn to the mysteries hidden behind veils, to the whispers of things unseen. Just as the fruit in Eden promised wisdom but delivered ruin, so too does the dark web tempt many with its hidden corridors. But wisdom without discernment is a path to destruction. The internet is a vast and wondrous creation, yet there exists a shadowed realm within it, one that many enter thinking they are unseen, protected by anonymity. But darkness does not only conceal, it also blinds. What you cannot see, you cannot prepare for, and what you do not understand can entangle you before you even realize you are caught. Before you set foot into these digital depths, let us speak of caution, wisdom, and the unseen forces that lurk beneath the surface. For even in the darkest places, light remains the greatest power. From the dawn of time, humanity has been drawn to the allure of hidden knowledge. It is not enough for us to see what is before us. We long to know what is behind the veil, beyond the horizon, beneath the surface. This hunger for the unknown has driven explorers to the ends of the earth, scientists into the depths of the atom, and philosophers into the mysteries of the soul. And yet, history has taught us that not all knowledge is meant for all hands. Some doors, once opened, refuse to be shut. Some revelations, once seen, change a person forever. This is the story of mankind's oldest struggle, the temptation of the forbidden. In Eden, a garden overflowing with abundance, there was only one restriction. One tree, standing amidst countless others, held fruit that was not for man to take. It was not because the fruit itself was evil, nor because God delighted in withholding good things, but because knowledge without wisdom is like fire in the hands of a child. Adam and Eve were not ready for what they sought. Their desire to know was not tempered by the strength to bear the truth, and in reaching for what was beyond their grasp, they lost what had already been freely given. This same impulse has never left us. It is why men build secret societies, why books are burned, why governments classify information. The greater the secrecy, the greater the desire to uncover it. And in the modern age, the digital world has become the new landscape of mystery. The surface web, the internet as most know it, is a polished window display, but behind it lies a labyrinth of unseen corridors, some filled with knowledge, others with dangers beyond imagining. This is the dark web, the forbidden tree of the digital world. It promises unrestricted knowledge, the ability to see and do what others cannot. But like the fruit in Eden, its sweetness masks a hidden poison. The temptation is powerful. The dark web whispers to the curious mind, "Come and see, there is more here than they want you to know." And so many step forward, believing they will gain insight, access, and power. But few stop to ask what cost they will pay for what they find. For knowledge is never neutral. It shapes and transforms those who grasp it. It can elevate a man to wisdom, but it can also cast him into the abyss. A man who steps onto the dark web without preparation is like a traveler venturing into an uncharted jungle without a map, compass, or supplies. He may believe himself clever for having found the path, but he does not realize that he is being watched. The illusion of anonymity is intoxicating, making one feel invincible, unseen, but the truth is far more sobering. The moment one enters these hidden places, they are no longer the observer, they are the observed. It is not merely a world of secret knowledge, it is a world of secret watchers. Many have entered with a sense of adventure and left with burdens they cannot erase. Some find themselves caught in webs of deception, lured by promises that quickly turn into traps. Others stumble upon things they were never meant to see, images and information that leave a stain on the soul. There are certain paths that, once taken, cannot be undone. What the eye has seen, the mind cannot unsee. What the soul has touched, it cannot easily cast away. There is nothing wrong with seeking knowledge, but there is everything wrong with seeking it without wisdom. The wise man does not run blindly into the dark, nor does he assume that he is immune to the dangers hidden there. To seek the hidden things of this world is not in itself evil, but to seek them recklessly, without wisdom, without understanding, without the light of truth to guide one's way, this is how men fall. The hunger for knowledge is a fire, and like all fires it must be contained, lest it consume the one who holds it. The traveler who steps into the dark web thinking himself untouchable is like a man who wades into deep waters believing he cannot drown. He may stay afloat for a time, but the currents do not care for his confidence. The tides will pull him down all the same. The wise man does not fear the ocean, but he respects it. He prepares. He understands the risks before he takes the step. The same must be true of anyone who dares to move unseen in the digital world. Anonymity is a tool, but without wisdom it is nothing more than a mirage. And mirages have led many to their ruin. Every action a man takes carries weight, even when he believes no one is watching. In the physical world, the consequences of a deed may be immediate, but in the digital world they are often delayed, invisible at first, yet no less real. There is a temptation to think that because one's presence is hidden, so too are the consequences of one's choices. But secrecy does not remove accountability. A man may hide from the eyes of other men, but he cannot hide from the moral weight of his own actions. There is nothing inherently good or evil about the tools we use. Fire can warm a home or burn it to ashes. A knife can prepare a meal or take a life. The same is true of the technology that grants access to the hidden corners of the internet. The dark web, like any other tool, is not inherently wicked. It is simply a means, a pathway to information and communication that is not accessible through traditional means. But it is not the tool itself that defines its purpose. It is the intent of the one who wields it. A man who enters this hidden world must ask himself a question. Why am I here? What do I seek? The answer to this question will shape not only his experience, but also the mark it leaves upon him. There are those who enter for knowledge, for privacy, for the desire to protect themselves from intrusive surveillance. But there are also those who enter seeking the forbidden, drawn by the allure of things they would never speak of in the light of day. The dark web does not corrupt a man. It merely reveals what was already within him. It offers him a mirror, a test, a choice. And once that choice is made, he cannot escape the consequences. It is a mistake to believe that anonymity erases responsibility. The digital world is filled with those who have learned this lesson too late. They believed that because they were unseen, their actions carried no weight. But the weight of a deed is not measured by whether others can witness it. A man who steals in secret is no less a thief than one who steals in the open. A man who speaks words of hatred behind an anonymous name is no less accountable than one who shouts them in the street. And a man who feeds his mind with darkness, believing no one will ever know, will find that it is not others he must fear, but the slow, silent transformation of his own soul. No one walks into darkness and leaves unchanged. Every place a man treads leaves its dust upon his feet. The things he sees, the words he reads, the choices he makes in secret, they do not vanish when he logs off. They stay with him, shaping his thoughts, his desires, his very being. The greatest deception of the hidden world is that it allows one to act without consequence, but the truth is far more sobering. The consequence of an action is not determined by whether it is seen by others, but by what it does to the one who commits it. A man is responsible not only for what he does, but for what he becomes. He may enter the shadows believing he is unchanged, but over time the shadows settle into him. The wise understand this and walk carefully, weighing every step, guarding not only their digital footprint, but the integrity of their own souls. The fool believes he is free to do as he pleases, that no harm will come to him as long as he remains unseen. But the harm was never in being caught. It was in the choices themselves. And a man's choices will always find him, even in the dark. There are places in this world where even the strongest minds falter, where curiosity can become a snare, and where the unseen forces that shape human nature whisper more loudly than they do elsewhere. The dark web is not simply a network of hidden websites. It is a realm where morality is tested, where the boundaries of conscience are stretched, and where those who enter unprepared may find themselves entangled in something far beyond what they had anticipated. A man does not walk through fire and remain unscathed, nor does he immerse himself in darkness without it leaving a mark upon him. The modern world has conditioned people to believe that what happens online is separate from the real world, but this is a dangerous illusion. A man who spends his days among criminals will eventually begin to think like one, whether he intends to or not. A man who surrounds himself with corruption will find his own integrity slowly eroding, often without realizing it. In the same way, a man who steps into the digital abyss, believing himself merely an observer, will soon find that observation alone is never truly passive. The things he reads, the images he sees, the conversations he engages in, these are not harmless. They take root in the mind, shaping thoughts, shifting perspectives, dulling the senses to what was once unthinkable.